Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Bring It Back. This being the show where we're talking about TV shows that were canceled and or short-lived that would like to see get brought back in some shape or form. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the NBC show Ordinary Joe. Really quickly, if you're unfamiliar with Ordinary Joe is, basically it follows the main protagonist, Joe. Basically, Joe had a pivotal choice to make in his life. He had three paths in front of him. Following his father's footstep and become a cop, choose to go off with his best friend, who they have a complicated on and off thing because they went beyond best friend, just best friends, Jenny. And another one is just choosing like, hey, I'm gonna become a musician and I'm going to be with this girl I just met. Well, the premise of this show is it's not like a full-blown science fictional multiverse show, but basically it takes the principle of a multiverse and basically you follow these three different lives, the three different paths that Joe goes down, like I laid out before you. And throughout every episode, you're bouncing back and forth between his story, between these three different choices he made, these three different paths in life he chose, and the outcomes down them. Being with Jenny, and they have a son, and he's a nurse, but some of those elements, like having a son, does translate over to the other realities because Jenny was pregnant before he made that choice. So he has a son across all the different realities. It's just a question of whether or not his son's in his life, which in the other two realities he's not. So it's just like the different paths of becoming a world famous musician, being a police officer, being a nurse, and kind of being married, having a son and a family. And it was a really interesting concept for a show, especially for someone like me who likes the thought process of a multiverse, of like, yeah, that basically there are so many parallel timelines of like, oh, if you, what if you went left instead of going right? And I love that. And there was like a very like heartfelt element to it, because this is a character, you know, once again, there's parallels and major differences between all of his lives, because some things come back around in each reality, just maybe in a different shape or form. Like, once again, having a son, that comes back in those other realities in a different way, but other avenues and aspects of his life kind of play out that same way, and just kind of like that no life is better than the others because each life comes with its pros and its cons. So I thought it was a very, very interesting concept of for a show. Sadly, it was canceled after one season. I haven't looked into it, but I'd assume it's once again your typical thing. Either people just didn't like the show, no one watched the show, or a combination of the two, which is such a bummer because the show ends on a pretty big cliffhanger across all three timelines, if I remember correctly, on reality. So it's such an interesting concept for a show, and I would have loved to have seen that going for a while. The way I kind of put it, and even how it was initially like promoted, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, even though I've never seen This Is Us, which I think This Is Us could be my type of show. I mean, it's kind of now the perfect time to jump into it considering like it's done. But it's like This Is Us, but spread across multiple realities, whereas like This Is Us is told across different time periods, because it's all, like, it bounces back and forth against all these different time periods. But it definitely had like from what I know of This Is Us, just from what I've seen the promos and stuff, definitely had that This Is Us vibe. And I'm just kind of, because this show could have probably had those same legs if given the opportunity. Once again, I just did a video talking about the end game. This being an NBC show, I don't see like, right, this ain't going to end up on Peacock. I mean, it's probably on Peacock right now, but you know, new season of it's going to be there. So I don't see Netflix picking this up. Once again, Prime Video, maybe a Hulu could pick it up. But yeah, it's one of those shows where I feel like it's super unlikely for anyone to pick it up, which is such a bummer because I think it's such an interesting concept for a show. I think it was just an entertaining show that you kind of like, it was a very heartfelt show in so many regards, and I'm just bummed that it didn't get to continue. As I said before, bare minimum, I want something to get maybe 5 seasons, whatever it takes, however long it takes to tell whatever story you want to tell. Considering like all the different realities, I don't know if they ever had like already in their head like, oh, this is what we want the end point to be. Whether it took 3, 4, 5 seasons to get there, I would have loved to have taken that journey with them. It wouldn't just be, oh, I want one more season to wrap everything up. Oh, I want a movie to wrap everything. It's like, no, I want the show to have full legs to tell the full scope of the story that they wanted to tell, and who knows where things would have taken it. Well, you have some idea of where they kind of cliffhangered some of the stuff, where that would have taken Joe and people around him into different realities and stuff. So, but really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. good day and good